Today we're talking about trading and anxiety. You know these emotions that come up when you're on trading, whenever you place trade, whenever you gotta handle losses, and a lot of people struggle with them. And we just recently hosted a whole training on how to handle this anxiety, handle these losses, these emotions coming up when you're on trading, the right way to deal with them, and get the right results that you want after that. So we'll go through this whole training. This was hosted by Michael Toma, one of the traders in my team, and you get to see his own perspective on how he stays calm while trading and some things he does to reduce those emotions and take care of them. It's impossible to remove all emotions from trading, but at least you can do something to handle them and deal with them productively. So without further ado, we'll go right in and you'll learn a lot from this training for sure.
What is this thing about trading and anxiety that is such a big thing? It's like it's always being talked about. You know, how do I overcome anxiety? And Mandy talks about it in her things. It's just, why is this so tied to trading? Well, it's tied to a lot of things. You know, problems in our life, relationships, work issues, big meeting, presentations, things like that, meetings with the boss. Anxiety is a natural human defense mechanism. So what do we do to either overcome it, or are we able to overcome it? Is that actually psychologically capable of we doing it as humans? And then, of course, we're going to address what can we do as traders to do our best to sort of manage it as best we could. So I also thrown in my topic as in regards to overtrading, because when we have anxiety, it also usually results in overtrading. Usually, sometimes maybe FOMO, or no one wants to take the inability to take a trade. So why are these two often linked? We see it a lot, and as I mentioned, lately, I don't know what it is, just coincidence, but in the Slack, we've seen it a lot. A lot of people talking about this. And quite honestly, a lot of people have asked me, and they said this right in these masterminds, Mike, why do you seem so calm about trading? Like you're so relaxed when you trade. Like, why is that? And I had to think about it myself, but I'll have some suggestions in a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is determine the root cause, if that's possible. Why? Why am I very anxious when I'm trading? And some of the things that we've uncovered by looking at several members and meeting with a lot of traders and having our one-on-one calls is it's usually with one of these four, if not more than that. One is the need to reach a goal. You have performance pressures. Think about at your job when you have a meeting or a presentation, you get that little anxiety. But in trading, we kind of feel the need that we have to succeed. And quite honestly, maybe it's not yourself. Maybe it's a spouse or partner. You got that pressure, like they don't say much, but they're saying, hey, where's the revenue coming out of this thing that you said were you going to be so great at, right? So that pressure to succeed is a very big one. Next, or that's the second one too, the pressure to succeed, and also performance pressures, right? Usually from internal or maybe people close to you. Next, the anxiety we have found is highest in the developmental stage. So when you're very, very early in your trading career, you kind of have this loosey-goosey, I'm going to crush it and nothing bothers me. And when you're really a seasoned professional trading, nice size capital, you don't seem to worry about it, even with maybe some of, big size. But when you're in the developmental stage, it seems like we have found the anxiety is the highest. So what can we do about that, right? Lastly, I want to put there, and it's sort of generic, I won't get too into it tonight, but is there something else that needs to be uncovered, right? A lot of times when we're anxious, there may be something personal or in the past or some demon that you have to overcome. And this is, where training with Mandy and stuff will help out as well. But a lot of times, if you have one person who's never anxious, you see that person who's never nervous, and the other one just every time they push a button, they're just jittering and they can't leave the screen. Why is that? So let's link this to the overtrading part, right? Why do traders overtrade? What do you see that triggers a trade? What are you looking at that triggers that? Something to think about. Is it too much on your screen? Too many bells and whistles? Too much candy store? as I always call it. Right? The fact is, the math says you don't need to. Right? We think that we're traders. We tend to overtrade in the sense that the more we do, the better. But the math says just the opposite. In fact, if you have too many trades, when I do journal reviews, it tends, at least the day's performance or the week's performance, tends to sort of revert to a mean. Now, that could be a positive expectancy, but it sort of reverts to a mean. You don't have those, big equity curve pushes when you have when you overtrade. Okay. Again, the results revert to the mean over many occurrences. So let's get this clear. One of the takeaways is you don't have to overtrade. Don't think you have to, even though you may see a lot of setups that are, quote, within your plan. Next is, are you sacrificing edge? And this is what I've seen several times, and particularly we've been talking about this in the past month. While there may be a, quote, trigger, and it may be a valid trade, but are you sacrificing edge? All right. Is there an edge, first of all? But as traders, we're really there to take the high probability opportunities. All right. And when you sacrifice edge, you say, well, that's good enough, or, the 1 minute candle just turned green, so I'm going to go long. Are we sacrificing edge? And this is really where a backtest, take the best historical backtested quality opportunities. So you don't have that reversion to the mean. The math says you don't have to have 100 trades a day. You just take the best of the best, at least historically, and you just go with that. Optimally, that usually tends to have the best outcome. All right. So we've looked at sort of a high level anxiety, and then we combined it with the connection between overtrading and anxiety. And ask yourself, before we go to the next slide, if some of these sort of appeal to you, some of these sort of reach out to you and hit you over the head and say, yeah, a couple of these are something that I've experienced or I'm currently, challenged over. Okay. Something to think about. We'll go to the next slide. Okay. Thanks, Sal. Okay, good. I think there was a picture on this one, but so is this slide 2, Alex, or is this is it? And third one is okay.
Yeah, that's the
this too. Good.
I don't know what happened to the picture. Yeah, I think I saw it in Canva, but when it exported.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll use it for next one. So anyway, let's get to the meat of this. What are some of the things that you can do to address this developmental issue? It's not a problem. Most traders have one or two of these. Somehow they're battling in some phase of their career. Like I said, once you become professional, it tends to slow down because you can manage it better. However, when you're trading big size, sometimes it tends to reappear. And hence, trader psychologists have always said, like, no, that's when they need the psychologist the most. Okay. I've also had that when I tried to increase my size and I needed to get to a certain level. I found my anxiety came back. So size plays a big role. The first thing, all right, simplify. This is a great takeaway. Simplify, and I put everything, charts, the visuals, the trading plans. I've seen some of these workups, and I'm so excited that people are engaged and putting the time into it. But they're novels, and I go through them and I'm saying to myself, I don't even know where to begin to how to comment, right? Too much, right? Simplify everything. And by the way, I mean everything, even outside of trading. Your work environment, your personal things going on, less is more, right? Now that's a handful. You could literally put a whole year's worth of development as one task saying, I'm going to simplify my life. Well, try it if you got kids going to school and, a partner who has needs and you're working too and everything like that. All right? I think everyone is in that boat at some point, right? But do your best to simplify things. Use technology, whatever you need to do. Add a filter and back test it. So this addresses, one, the quality of the trades, and it should reduce the overtrading issue, right? And just helping someone out earlier today, they had a clear overtrading challenge, right? That's with no argument there. So what are all the options? Well, just let's add a filter, okay? Even if it's a over 50 moving average, do a long, under, short, or something, you've eliminated half your trades just by that one little simple filter. All right. And of course, back test it. All right. Me personally, if I'm going to have the same production outcome, and I mean like dollars, at the end of the month, I have a choice of like 200 trades or 12, I'm taking the 12. All right. It just simplifies everything. It filters everything out, and it only picks the perfect cherries off the trade. Next is preserve your emotional capital. One of the things we've noticed is when there's a lot of trades and a lot of anxiety, even though we find some people are successful, the ability to maintain that success is a big concern. To me, it's one of those identified risks that I would place in the trader's file, saying, I know you're excited, I know your results are there, but can you continue at this level 8 hours a day, or sometimes even more, for more than like a year or two? All right. And some of the best traders, not just the desire to trade, the best ones on Wall Street, after 4 or 5 years, they're raising cows in the middle of Pennsylvania. They just couldn't do it. All right. So next, anti-anxiety best practices. It's sort of like a catch-all, but for those who are into meditation, breathing, obviously fitness, exercise, I put a sort of a big bullet there. Anti-anxiety best practice. I have found that just being calm about everything and just relaxing, let the market do its thing. All right. Just live a lifestyle where there's as much anti-anxiety as possible. There is so much behind that one bullet. And I know a lot of that may be unachievable for a lot, but you have to do your best and do your best practices by finding things that make you relax. All right. Because if you're anxious in life, I guarantee you'll be anxious in trading. Okay. And this one, how many times have we heard this? Minimize the connection to dollars. Once the dollars come into play, this is where the anxiety really connects. All right. And sometimes when you take them off the dollars, take them off your charts and take them everything like that, there's an initial burst of even higher anxiety, because it's kind of like the smoker who just got their cigarettes taken away from them, if there's such a thing. So when you take that money off, it initially has a negative impact, but eventually when you try your best to disconnect the dollars, you'll feel better, right? Next one, and I put a couple of these things in a different color and bold. How many times have we heard this? How many times in the mastermind calls in the past year have I not mentioned about trade size? Lower the size. I put this in bold because I usually don't say like, this is what I do, so you should do it. But there's a couple things here that I really want to emphasize that for me, and I had to graduate size, and especially when I started managing outside capital, I noticed my anxiety was, really getting worse. All right. And it's actually affecting my medical results. Small, but like enough to where I need to address it. I lowered size. Everybody says, why are you so calm when you trade? I keep my size small, relatively. 8 years ago, I was trading this size. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe there's no way I can trade that. But you build it up. Keep your size relatively low. All right. If you're trading X, trade 10% of it, the exact same thing, and monitor yourself. With rare exception, again, everybody has their own individual situation, but you'll notice you're just more calm. You could walk out. You don't have to watch your screen every second. Okay. I got Microsoft Teams popping up. Oh boy. Okay. So anyway, lower size. Just that alone, if you tried that, and if you haven't and you want to, try that. I guarantee you that alone, everything else the same. You'd be walking away, you can go out to Costco, whatever you got to do. And you come back and trade's done. For those on the future side, because I know we have some futures traders here, 5 years ago, we didn't have micro futures. Now you guys got like one of the best products to lower size, lower anxiety. And again, you could always build that up. But every time I see people anxious, I see their size and they're just putting too much on. Okay? Last, remind yourself of the role as a trader. All right. I won't go into repeat because I know, although we have some few new people here today, but remember the whole project manager the persona. Okay. Sometimes when we see ourselves as traders, we get very anxious because we want to trade. We have to trade. We have to make money in trading. But if you really take a step back and look at what your role is as a person executing a plan, it kind of just by definition takes a little off the anxiety off a little bit. Okay. At least I hope so. So if you look at your role, different. And lastly, this helped me tremendously. Take a step back and think about the big picture, right? Worrying about that trailer, if it will hit my target or hit my stop, is really so meaningless in this game. It really is. It's really a joke. And you just look at the big picture, say, okay, I'm going to do this. And quite honestly, and I could say this in like an academy mastermind class, if this whole thing doesn't work out, it's okay. There's something better in store for you. Okay. But obviously we're here to make sure that doesn't happen. But really the big picture, I mean, and this is where I had a coach, and we've all been through challenging things in life, even if you're younger, and just everybody's had challenges. My coach had a terminal disease, right? And he overcame it. So his thing was like, do you think I care about a stop out? I could care less. I almost died. All right. So it was one of the best things, he says, from a trading perspective, that happened to him, because he has no fear, no anxiety. He just doesn't care about anything. It's all just crap. Right. So he looks at the big picture saying, I got my health. I woke up today. Think I care about a losing trading day? Doesn't bother me. So I know many of us have had challenges in our life. And without getting, on the edge of spiritual, think about those things as a bonus, as something that you can look at, as something you could say, you know what? In relative terms, yeah, this isn't that important. A bad week, a bad day. It's okay. I got coaches. I joined a program and I'm going to overcome it. Right? Look at the big picture. Okay. Hope some of this is resonating with you and those obviously watching the recordings. Alex, I think we have one slide left. Yeah. So to summarize, all right, I want everyone here to make a commitment. All right. For those who in some fashion have this challenge that we're currently talking about. All right. Take a look at your journal, right? Assess and journal your trades to see the connection between quality and results. My point is, when you take trades that have, quote, less quality, right? Particularly like in an overtrading scenario, how does that impact your results? And I'll play devil's advocate. Sometimes if you maybe trade too often, sometimes the opportunities are great. I sometimes quote that I've overtraded the past few weeks, but really these markets are good. And I'm going to be doing my journal for the month, probably over the weekend if I get a chance. And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know if I overtraded. I just think there was a lot of opportunities. Right? And if there is, I'll be very critical and say it was. But assess your trades that you put in your journal and see, right? If I overtraded, what about these like borderline ones, or the ones that didn't have a filter? What if I weeded those out? So rank your trades, do whatever you have to do, and say, okay, my premium A premium, grade A premium trades, what would have been my results, right? And if they were even close, even if they weren't exactly the total amount, if they were less, you didn't have to watch them, less anxiety. It's more than enough for you to get get in a nice groove, get a good equity curve, and again, most importantly, have longevity in this business. Right? Okay. So next, the math says less is more. Right? I'm going to open up the floor in a minute, and I want you to comment on that. I know we have some math geeks in here too. So let me know if you feel differently. Say, no, when I trade, scalping 1 minute, like every other minute for all day, as long as that's part of my plan, I'm going to do that. That's fine too. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. But the math says you don't have to go trading crazy to be successful in this business. Okay. And lastly, is the anxiety or overtrading sustainable regardless of success? Right? And I've mentioned that a few times, where one of the concerns I have as a coach and also as a risk manager, and especially on the managed side, when I talk to traders, and I talked to some of them in Asia just the other day, and I said, the first question I ask is, how are you doing? Oh, the trading is good. And I go, no. How are you doing? Like, I want to get a sense of, are they getting burned out? Are they overwhelmed? Is too much going on, right? Personally and professionally. So is the anxiety or overtrading sustainable? And I say that with the notion that you may be successful, but how long can you handle this? Regardless of success. So make a commitment. I hope you do, particularly on the journal, to take a look at that and say, did my results suffer on trades that didn't have that sort of premium quality to it? All right. Again, a lot more thought-provoking topics that will maybe hopefully keep you up at night tonight, which probably adds more anxiety. So you could thank me for that. But if this can help identify that's something you're going to do, say, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to watch this again, and I have to address it, because if I don't, it's one of the biggest barriers, the psychological barriers I have to my success. I need to address it. And sometimes it takes a mastermind call to sort of light that flame, say, damn it, now's the time. I'm going to address this and move on to something else.
If you want to learn from Michael, myself, and other coaches that I work with inside of the Draft Trade Academy, I'll leave a link below so you can apply. It's a process where I pick students myself because we have a very small community, and I want to make sure people are actually going to put in the work and get results in the program. That's very important to me, for people to get results from it. And I would love to have you part of it, of course. So check out the link below to apply. Make sure you comment below with your questions, your thoughts on this training, and I'll catch you back here once again in the next video pretty soon. Ciao.